It's a very serious time for politics here in the United States of America. And to a point, you do like a bit of comic relief. You watch the late night shows, you watch these stand-up comedians, they make light of the times. And to an extent, that's good. But what if somebody from the State Department just comes out and blatantly laughs at the thought of transparency and democracy? Well, that's exactly what's happening at the State Department, as well as other things, White House press briefings, where they come in, they bring everybody in, they say, regurgitate these talking points. And then when they ask them the hard questions, they either completely botch the answer, if they answer them at all. And now we see this, a State Department spokesman laughs at the mention of democracy and transparency.
Welcome to the State Department. I think we have some interns in the back. Welcome. Good to see you in this exercise in transparency and democracy.
Is that what it is?
Sorry,
I
didn't mean to break
I thought
out
it was an
laughter.
exercise in spin and obfuscation.
All right. Can you tell us my last briefing?
And at least the guy was being honest. He knows it's just a big joke. He's there as a figurehead. He's a conduit for the anger or the resentment of the American people. He's there as a dodge or a scarecrow for the journalist, because all he is a lightning rod for all the controversy, because they understand they can put these press secretaries, the spokesmen like this guy out there in front. They take all the hard questions, and then the guys in the back, they sit around and laugh like, oh, look at John, we made him look like a moron. Same thing when you go to police press briefings. And as I always say about the State Department, or when you get the interview sheet or the fact sheet from the public information officer, or as me and David Knight like to call them, the public disinformation officers, this is what they want you to regurgitate to your viewers. If you guys recall, it wasn't all that long ago that the State Department came out and said it was a, quote, mistake that Syrian rebels, Western funded, of course, sawed off a little boy's head with a knife. And with this type of mentality, it doesn't surprise me at all that the guy just can't hold it in anymore. He's like, yeah, this is a complete joke. I'm sure he didn't even like that report about the Syrian rebels. I'm sure this guy in his heart is a good guy. He wants to do right, but he has the people up at the top, prodding him along. Hey, Mike or whatever the guy's name is, you're going to read this press release. You're going to say it's a mistake. You're going to give everybody all the rosy answers that they want to hear. But in reality, we all know that we're going to do nothing. We're going to continue to fund these organizations because that's exactly what we do. So with that said, when I run into these PIOs, the public information officers, or guys like this, I'm not so much mad at them. They're just the conduit. They're just the puppet. They're the figurehead. Like I said, they're the scarecrow, the straw man. That's all they do. They're just a conduit. But unfortunately, we do have people like this, and then also the reporters who regurgitate the talking points without any thought to it. Now, that's some disinformation, but what if you just don't give people any type of information? And that's what Harry Reid is proposing for Donald Trump. He's saying he wants the CIA to give Trump fake intelligence briefings. In comments not widely reported last week, the Democratic Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid said he would rather see the CIA and other intelligence agencies give GOP nominee Donald Trump fake briefings than make sure he's informed before potentially becoming president. And this is his quote: "I would suggest to the intelligence agencies, if you're forced to brief this guy, don't tell him anything. Just fake it, because this man is dangerous." And that's what he told in an interview to the Huffington Post. And it's very interesting to me how much they dislike this guy, to the point where they would just deny him real factual information. Because even if you give real factual information to somebody like Mrs. Clinton, she ignores it. Case in point, Benghazi. Ambassador Stevens had been sending her office cables for quite some time, months leading up before his death. I know they want you to believe it's just that stupid Innocence of Muslims cartoon or live action cartoon. No, it wasn't that. He was saying, hey, we're over here in Benghazi, it's getting hot, we need some more contractors out here. And they responded by taking his security away from him. And of course, we know the man died. And an interesting side note to that Benghazi story, I saw some article that since the election cycle has started, 13 Hours, the Benghazi movie, is doing exceptionally well on DVD or a Redbox or Netflix, whatever it's on. A lot of people going out and renting this because they want to find out, what is all this Benghazi about? So, good job to you guys who made the film. But back to the information at hand, we have so much disinformation, whether it's people in the FBI trying to doctor the transcripts of the Orlando shooter, not redact, not, take out the black Sharpie and mark it out. No, like completely changing the narrative as to what actually happened, literally changing history before our eyes, or I guess lies would work for that as well. And they would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling info warriors and the other people in the alternative media who say, no, you guys are trying to rewrite history, or the FBI coming out and completely downplaying the actions of Mrs. Clinton as it came to her emails. The FBI director himself say, yeah, we believe she compromised national security when she did these things, but we're going to give her a pass because she's Mrs. Clinton. And of course, Mrs. Lynch meeting with old Billy Boy on the private jet. And it's like, oh, we talked about, golf and the NBA finals and how cute our grandkids are. We, played Pokemon Go. We didn't talk about his wife being under investigation. That's completely ridiculous. That's conspiracy theory, just like Obama's coming out. Election fraud is a conspiracy theory. Now, this isn't anything particular to the Trump, Hillary, I guess Gary Johnson, Jill Stein current situation, but every year we see the reports about people who are dead voting in elections. And they do this by stealing somebody's identity. Let's say like the old lady who lived next door to you for 20 years just fell over and died. If you know her name and you live someplace where you don't need a ID to go vote, you can say, hey, I'm Mrs. Jenkins from such and such. And they say, oh, yeah, here you go. Here's your form. It could be some big bearded guy with tattoos all over him, but they don't check to make sure these things are accurate. So that's how you get voter fraud, or one of the ways you can get voter fraud. So to say that it's a conspiracy theory that exists is completely ridiculous, but that's enough on that for right now. Now let's talk about some fraud in another way. Let's say you're trying to defraud your nation by joining ISIS. And we've seen multiple reports of this, not just here in the States, but I believe there are some young ladies from Australia who went and joined ISIS. You get all these college kids and high school kids for spring break or whatever. They go out and hang out with the jihadis. Like, yeah, man, I'm going to go out here. I'm going to take some selfies and play some hacky sack. And then they end up dead because they realize it's a lot harder to get out of those situations than it was to get in. They think they're going to go on some like real life Discovery Channel adventure, with a crocodile hunter. Yes, we're here with the terrorists. I'm like, no, bro, you're going out there with a bunch of psychopaths who are killing people. These guys are getting funding from the CIA, other organizations. Do you think they want witnesses to go back home and tell people what's actually going on? Negative. And now we see a North Carolina man charged with conspiring to provide material support to ISIL. And this is Eric Hendricks. He's age 35. He tried to recruit people to train together and conduct terrorist attacks in the United States on behalf of ISIL. According to a criminal complaint unsealed today in the U.S. District Court in the Northern District of Ohio. This was back in June 2015. An individual was arrested in Ohio after attempting to purchase an AK-47 assault rifle and ammunitions from an undercover officer. And the person had previously pledged allegiance to ISIL on social media and made statements expressing interest in conducting attacks in the United States. Now, this is why you have an FBI. When the FBI does things like this, they crack down on guys like this. That's what they're there for. They're not there to, spy on the general person's phone calls. They're not there to, track your porn searches and all this stuff. They're there to make sure that criminal activity does not grow to a bigger extent here in the United States of America. But when they're doing all this metadata, when they're, sucking up people's internet searches because they Google pressure cookers, that's not what they're there for. They're there for stuff like this to stop things from actually happening. So in cases like this, I will say that the people involved in law enforcement did a good job, but they should be doing more of this and less of tracking down mundane activities like the normal person does in their everyday lives.
We have ended the big mega sale, the biggest in our history. Now, we have kept 3 items, though, this week. That's Brain Force, while supplies last, the amazing nootropic, for $17.76, normally $29. Leading competitors that have similar formulas are $60 to $70 to $80. So we're already a great deal at that price. It has some ingredients that are controlled or prescription in Europe. That's how powerful it is. Read about it for yourself at InfoWarsLife.com. That's 40% off. DNA Force, our flagship product. It's a big deal to offer 30% off on that. We're extending that. And then Vitamin Mineral Fusion. All the vitamins, all the minerals, the amino acids, the cofactors to help upload it. Great tasting fruit punch. Organically flavored. There's nothing else out there it's like it. It's amazing. It's plant-derived minerals. InfoWarsLife.com. That's 30% off. But I'm going to go further. Boom, here it is. Normally you sign up for auto ship, you get 10% off. You still get that on top of it. I'm doing free shipping on everything. Whether it's one Hillary for Prison shirt or a Bill Clinton rape shirt or whatever it is, whatever informational warfare weapon you want to help spread the word and meet like-minded people, free shipping store-wide. Free shipping store-wide. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you can get 40% off on Brain Force. You can get 30% off on DNA Force. I'm not going to sit here and belabor this. People should really go read and see the hundreds of studies that are there breaking down just what BioPQQ does and why this is such an amazing nutraceutical and why it's so important that folks take it daily, because the compounds in this are just amazing. I mean, you just know they're from God. But I'm not going to get into the science. Go to InfoWarsLife.com. Go there to the page for yourself, and you can check it all out at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site, and your purchases make it possible, everything we do here. So I want to thank you all for your support, your prayers, and so much more.
We're not even able to post probably half of the reviews that come in. And the reason why is because if anyone mentions a disease or they got better from a disease, the third-party review sites that we subcontract out to that monitor these reviews, if there's any mention of a disease or anything in there, it can't go up online because of the regulations with the FDA. So please feel free to call in as much as you want. We love hearing about your stories. And this is just DNA Force, but you know, the best thing that I love to do and the best thing I tell people to do is just go online, InfoWarsLife.com, and just read all the reviews.